Early life and beginnings. Duncan Edwards, born on October 1, 1936 in Dudley, England, was one of the most gifted and promising footballers in English history. His life and career were tragically cut short, but in his brief time on the pitch, he managed to capture the hearts of football fans around the world. Edwards' story is one of talent, determination, and a relentless drive to succeed, making him a legend in English football. Raised in a working-class family, Edwards came from humble beginnings. His father, a factory worker, and his mother instilled in him a strong sense of discipline, which would go on to define his character. From a young age, Edwards showed an innate talent for football, and his passion for the game led him to join local youth teams. His early development as a footballer was marked by his exceptional athleticism, powerful physique, and keen footballing intelligence. As a teenager, Edwards quickly became a standout player in local football circuits, and his abilities caught the attention of talent scouts. His skill set, which included his ability to control the ball, his tackling, and his exceptional passing, stood out among his peers. By the time he was 15, he was recruited to join the youth system of Manchester United, one of the most prestigious football clubs in England. It was a move that would set him on a path to greatness, but also lead him into one of the darkest chapters of English football history. Early years at Manchester United. Edwards joined Manchester United's youth team in 1952, and his potential was quickly recognized by legendary manager Matt Busby. The club had a policy of promoting young talent, and Edwards' progression was fast-tracked. By the age of 16, he made his debut for the first team in a league match against Cardiff City in 1953. His performance was so impressive that he was immediately offered a regular spot in the team. Busby's faith in him paid off, as Edwards became one of the club's most essential players, despite his young age. Known for his combination of strength, technical skill, and maturity beyond his years, Edwards was often compared to the greats of his time. His versatility allowed him to play in various midfield roles, from a defensive role to a more attacking presence. He quickly became an integral part of the United lineup, forming part of the famous Busby Babes, a team that included players like Bobby Charlton, Dennis Viollet, and Roger Byrne. During his early years at United, Edwards' ability to dictate play from midfield made him stand out. He was a player capable of winning tackles, breaking up opposition attacks, and distributing the ball with precision. His maturity, composure on the ball, and leadership qualities made him a natural leader, and even at the age of 19, he was often called upon to lead the team in key moments. The Busby Babes and rapid success. The Busby Babes were a team of talented young players who seemed destined for greatness. Under Matt Busby, Manchester United rose to prominence in English football, and the club began to dominate domestic competitions. By the late 1950s, United had won back-to-back First Division titles in 1955-56 and 1956-57, with Duncan Edwards playing a crucial role in the team's success. Edwards' contribution to United's success was immense. His performances were key to United's ability to dominate the ball and control games. In the 1956-57 season, Edwards helped his team secure the First Division title, and he continued to impress in both domestic and international competitions. He played a central role in United's participation in the European Cup, which was becoming one of the most prestigious competitions in European football. In 1958, Edwards was part of a Manchester United squad that made its mark in European football by competing in the European Cup. The team had progressed to the quarter-finals of the competition, but their journey would end in tragedy. On February 6, 1958, the Munich air disaster struck, changing the lives of everyone involved and leaving a scar on the history of football. The Munich air disaster. The Munich air disaster remains one of the darkest days in the history of football. On that fateful day in 1958, the Manchester United team was returning from a European Cup match in Belgrade. The team was on a stopover in Munich, where the plane they were traveling on crashed during takeoff. 23 people were killed in the crash, including 8 Manchester United players, several club staff members, and journalists. Among the survivors of the crash was Duncan Edwards, who was left severely injured but alive. Edwards, who was just 21 years old, was critically wounded in the crash and spent several weeks in a coma. His injuries included broken ribs, a ruptured spleen, and significant damage to his kidneys. Despite the severity of his condition, Edwards remained resilient and showed signs of recovery. However, after a long and agonizing battle in the hospital, Edwards tragically passed away on February 21, 1958, just 15 days after the crash. The aftermath and legacy. Duncan Edwards' death at the young age of 21 was a devastating blow to both Manchester United and English football as a whole. He was a player with immense potential, and many believed that he would go on to become one of the greatest players of all time. His passing cut short what could have been a legendary career, and the impact of his loss was felt deeply throughout the football world. Edwards' memory lived on in the hearts of Manchester United fans, who mourned the loss of a player who had the potential to lead the club to even greater success. His death, along with the tragedy of the Munich air disaster, led to a deep sense of grief within the football community. However, Edwards' legacy also served as a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, as Matt Busby and the remaining members of the United squad rebuilt the team in the aftermath of the disaster. Manchester United eventually overcame the tragedy, and in 1968, the club became the first English team to win the European Cup, fulfilling the dreams of those who had been lost in Munich. However, Duncan Edwards' memory continued to be cherished, and his legacy was immortalized as one of the finest talents to have ever played the game.